All right, so the application process. Here's the financial aid timeline. One thing that's really important for students and families to know is that the admissions process and the financial aid process go hand in hand, and they happen in the same time frame. I sometimes get questions of, well, shouldn't I apply for admissions first, then I apply for financial aid? No, you should try to think about doing the two around the same time. So one step you can take is to, when students are looking at colleges that they want to apply to, of course, they're going to look at admissions deadlines and what's required for college admission. They should also look at financial aid deadlines and know that they don't want to miss a deadline for financial aid. So, and they're usually tied very closely with the admissions decision. So let's say a student is applying regular admission to a college and the regular financial aid deadline is February 1st. Well, they know that's they want to meet that deadline. But let's say the student is applying early admission to another college and that deadline might be November 1st. They want to make sure that that financial aid application is in for that early deadline. So just know that those two go hand in hand. And you can download this college application manager to stay organized, or just make your own. Make a spreadsheet, however you do it, on your phone, on a big whiteboard, to keep track of all of the details of both your admissions and financial aid applications. Now, applying, the first form you need to know about when applying for financial aid is the FAFSA. It's the free application for federal student aid. And that is the form that all colleges require for you to apply for financial aid. So you have to do that. And the good news is that this year it will be available on October 1st. And so as soon as October 1st rolls around, you can complete the FAFSA. And the reason you can do that is you have everything you need right now. The FAFSA is going to go back and look at the last completed tax year. So there's nothing you're waiting for financially. And for students right now who are high school seniors, you will be completing the 26-27 FAFSA, because that's when you will be enrolling in college. And the way this works is you go to this website, studentaid.gov, and the student should start the form first, go in, start to complete the FAFSA, and then invite the other people who need to be on the form with you. And that usually is one parent, or in some cases, two. And you invite the parent, and then the parent goes in, completes their part, and you can submit the FAFSA. MEFA does have another webinar called Understanding the FAFSA. You can find that on our website if you want to walk through the form line by line. I will also mention that this is a form that you do every year. Before you complete the FAFSA, you need a username and password. Everyone who's going to put information on the form needs a username and password, and that's called an FSA ID. So student, you will need an FSA ID. You can go and set that up right now. You must have an email address to get that. And the student, your parent will need an FSA ID. If your parents are married and filed jointly, then only one parent will need an FSA ID. But if they filed separately, both may need an FSA ID. You usually put your social security number in, but if you don't have one, you can answer some knowledge-based questions pulled from a credit history, and you can still get an FSA ID. So what's reported on the FAFSA? There's some general information, your name, your citizenship status, the colleges that you're applying to, because again, this form, you're going to send it to all of the colleges you're applying to. And for parents, it's going to ask you about your marital status. And if you're married, including same-sex parents, all of that information will be on the FAFSA. All parents who live together, married or not, will be on the FAFSA. Parents who are divorced or separated, there's just one parent that will be on the FAFSA with the student. It is the parent who provided more financial support in the last 12 months. Now, if that parent happens to be remarried, married to a current spouse, that person's information is on the form as well. And legal guardians are not a parent. So in that case, the student would file as an independent student. There are also questions like the number in your household. That pulls from the IRS, but you can update that, the number of children in college. And your financial information, most of it will be pulled right from your 2024 tax return. You will give consent to just have the IRS send your tax information right into the form. And then that's completed. It makes the form a lot easier to complete. And then for assets, you're going to include, both parents and students are going to include the value of savings, checkings, investments, some businesses, larger businesses, not businesses that have under 100 employees, commercial fishing, all of that. And you will report any education savings accounts like a 529, and that's reported as a parent asset for the student whose FAFSA you are completing. And things you won't include on the FAFSA are the value of your primary home or what's owed on it, the value of your qualified retirement accounts, life insurance, family farms, small businesses, or commercial fishing businesses. So good to know that those things are not on the FAFSA. And just also to know that child support received is considered an asset. Debt is not reported on the form in general, except debt if you have some investments, and debt on the investments, it's it would be the net investment. So that's how it's included. But other than that, there's not a place for you to report debt. Now, I said again, everyone does the FAFSA. Some colleges require an additional form, and it's usually colleges that have a lot of grant and scholarship money to award. And the other form that many colleges require is the CSS profile from the College Board. So just know that that form can have a fee of $25 for the first college that you're sending it to, and $16 for each additional college, unless your parent income is under $100,000. In that case, it will be free. And when you get to the end of the form, you won't have to pay. That is also available October 1st. So when you're looking at your colleges to see what forms they require, if they say the CSS profile, you need to do this form as well. And the CSS profile collects a little more information. So they will probably, most schools that use the CSS profile, if your parents are divorced or separated, they may ask both parents to do. They may have this regular CSS profile and the non-custodial parent profile. They will ask information about your primary residence, what it's worth, what's owed on it, and use that equity amount as an asset. So it's a little bit different. It takes a little longer to complete. But again, the colleges that require it have financial aid resources. That's why they're making you do it. So do this form and do it on time. And again, it's available October 1st. We also have a webinar that gets into more detail about the CSS profile. So then after you apply, again, on these forms, you write down the colleges that you are applying to, and all of your information gets sent electronically. And then you will receive from both an acknowledgement by mail for both the FAFSA and the CSS profile acknowledgement. So just know that. And then the colleges will review these applications and take some time to then present you with a financial aid offer. The financial aid offer could be sent right with your admissions application, or it could be sent a few weeks later, could be delayed a little bit more, but know that colleges know that you need that information before you can commit. And this is another process that just goes along with that. So there is a process that colleges need to follow called verification, and they need to verify a certain number of applications they receive. So just know, once you submit a financial aid application to a college, you may receive either an email, or colleges may have a portal and say this information is missing, and they may ask you for a tax return transcript or some kind of a verification worksheet that says, oh, you said you didn't file taxes last year. Can you just verify that? So just make sure that even after you've filed your financial aid forms, that you pay attention to any emails received and follow up quickly with the colleges to help them get that financial aid award to you as soon as possible. So again, the email that you put on these forms is really important. Make sure it's an email that you look at and that you read often. And after you've applied for admission and financial aid to a specific college, please know that the financial aid office at that college is also a great resource. So if you have questions, let's say you receive a financial aid offer, but you want to know, is that going to be good for 4 years? Are all of your awards going to carry over? That's a great question to ask specifically of one certain school. If you have an outside scholarship that your student has earned, maybe asking how is that going to affect financial aid? If you have a change in circumstances, let's say you file this form on October 10th, and someone in the family loses a job a couple of months later, by all means, contact the financial aid office to share that update so that the financial aid office can relook at your financial aid. And the financial aid office will let you know the best way to get in touch with them, sometimes a phone call, sometimes an email, sometimes a chat on their website.